Hello guys and welcome. It's the Fly Foot Doctor. So today I wanted to address something that everyone or most people, if you have any sort of affiliation with the healthcare community, you would have seen this on social media. And what I am talking about is this article that that was finally published this year, but was actually submitted last year. And the article's title was Prevalence of Unprofessional Content on Social Media by Young Vascular Surgeons. Now, of course, we all know we should be professional when we're in a workplace setting. We should make sure that we're dotting our I's, crossing our T's, obeying the rules and regulations. And there's just a certain way that you should carry yourself when you are in a professional setting. However, what this article did was sort of bring to light some of the biases that could be identified in healthcare and in medicine in general. So what do we mean when we talk about bias in healthcare or in research and things like when we talk about biases, it means or refers to prejudice or favoritism to a certain thing, a certain person, or certain place, or a certain group of people. Some of the clearly professional misconduct that they mentioned that we're seeing in some of those vascular surgeons' social media profiles included HIPAA violations, and HIPAA stands for Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, intoxication or intoxicated appearances, possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia, unlawful behavior, and uncensored profanity. Now, we understand, of course, in every organization, either in healthcare or even in, Wall Street, these are things that you should comply with. You don't want to talk bad about your colleagues. As a doctor, you don't want to talk bad about your patients. You want to keep their privacy. You want to make sure you are not involved in unlawful acts, even as a citizen. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor or not. But here's where we get a little tricky. The next category is potentially unprofessional behavior. This one is subjective, meaning what you would term a potentially unprofessional behavior may be a little different from what Joe Schmo down the hall thinks is potentially unprofessional. Holding or consuming alcohol, inappropriate attire like Halloween costumes or things of that nature, inappropriate swimwear or bikinis, controversial political or social topics, controversial religious topics. Now it leads me to wonder, guys. For instance, the Black Lives Matter movement. That is a controversial social topic. Some people believe it, some people agree with it, some people disagree with it. But at the end of the day, these are things that are really passionate to some medical professionals. So why will that be termed potentially unprofessional? Why can we not give our 2 cents or 10 cents into topics that actually affect us? I think this is quite interesting. People can have a healthy political debate, a healthy religious debate without it being unprofessional. Of course, when you start to throw profanity out there, when you start to act like, uncultured people, that's a little different. But to say that controversial topics, controversial religious issues, controversial political issues, or controversial social topics are out of bound and are unprofessional, it's a little crazy to me. And then holding or consuming alcohol, I will need them to state that drinking 3 pints of beer or 3 bottles of wine, you're going to be a little more specific for me to understand why you can't just have a drink. In residency, in med school, they have parties, they invite people out. And some people have residency graduation in bars. They rent out the whole bar. And so all of a sudden these things are unprofessional. I just think it's a little, irrational for me, to just go with this article. I know they mentioned bikini, but they also mentioned swimwear, but I'm a little hard pressed to believe that they were talking about male and female. A lot of the time, this bias, this gender bias usually comes out. It may be a little masqueraded as something else, but you start to see it. You start to understand that there is definitely this gender gap, this gender equality when it comes to healthcare. I mean, all the time we hear about the gender inequality when it comes to payment. And so you're paying a salary of 2 surgeons and the male surgeon gets significantly more money than the female surgeon, or when it comes to leadership roles and things like that. You know, these are things that we constantly fight all the time. So for this group of people to come up with this article is really hurtful, but it really just exposes what we've been talking about all this while. I am so happy that one of the doctors who was involved in this hashtag #MedBikini or Bikini Med, if you see it on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, is Dr. Candy Meyer. And she shows herself trying to help a surfer who injured himself and had a very bad injury, and she was actually trying to help this patient while in her bikini. So it doesn't matter what someone's wearing at the beach or by the pool or something. If they're having a harmless glass of wine or something like that, that should not be used to judge who you are or your competence level as a physician or a healthcare provider. All in all, we've got to do better. We've got to not judge people based on their gender, based on their sex, based on what it is that they wear, based on whatever it is, their appearances, their look, their skin color. It's just inappropriate. When I have patients, I relate with them at the most basic level, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. Either I'm a doctor, a nurse, a janitor, a cashier at the store, a bank executive, a clerk. At the end of the day, we're all humans. So it really doesn't matter. The white coat doesn't make me any better or shouldn't give me any sort of unattainable reach than the very next person. I know personally as a patient, if I go to see a doctor, I want a doctor that I can relate to. I want to know that my doctor is relaxed and is not tense and is not stressed, does not have this I'm better than you personality, I don't do the things you do type of personality. No, I want to know that they live a regular life just like their patients. And that's the kind of doctor that I try to be. Anyways, all in all, I am glad that ultimately this article has been retracted and there has been an apology that has actually been put out there saying that, you know, they understand the biases that were unchecked when they were reviewing and putting out this article. So I commend them for that. But I really wonder if there was not a pushback, if we didn't say anything, if there was not the campaign Med Bikini, Bikini Med, or Bikini Medicine on social media, would they have retracted an article, or would they have just left it? That's a good question that I think that we should think about. I mean, we're just tired of fighting over and over and over again. But hopefully, one little step at a time, we'll be able to get this gender equality that we're all looking for, and hopefully we won't have to deal with something like this again in the future. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Please follow me on all of my social media platforms. If you're new to my channel, I'm Dr. Shobawale, a 5-foot doctor. So please subscribe down below. Also like and comment on this post. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's the same name, the 5-foot doctor, as well as on TikTok. Thank you for hanging with me. And if you have other topics that you want me to discuss and talk about, leave them down below. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.